Okay, so let's begin. So homeostasis, what is this homeostasis? Usually cis, the term cis we use in biology for a kind of a process. Okay, so what process are we actually looking at? We are actually looking at a kind of a process which will be able to maintain our environment. Now, talking about the environment, what kind of environment are we talking about? Is it internal or is it external? We are talking about the cells. I request everyone to mute. We are getting some sort of a background noise. Everyone mute, please. Everyone mute. Yeah, thank you. So when you are actually talking about the so-called environment, we have two kinds of environments. One is the external environment where we live in, we in the sense living creatures, okay, and the other one is internal environment. Okay, internal environment matlab inside the cell of an organism or inside the body of an organism. Okay, so we have an environment. So what kind of environment are we talking about? It's about the water content. It's about the so-called salt balance. It's about the number of ions. It's about the sugar levels. It's about the temperature. It's about the pH of the solutions. Okay. So for the cell to survive, you require a specific environment inside also. Okay, and this environment should be maintained. So we have a process. While we have evolved, we have the creatures have actually adapted to the process called as homeostasis, which will be automatically regulating the body to maintain its conditions, okay, or its internal conditions. So what do you mean by homeostasis? It is a kind of a process that keeps things constant, or this is in simple language, or if you want to explain it in a more precise manner, the process of keeping an internal environment constant or stable is called as homeostasis. Again, I repeat, the process of keeping a constant internal environment is known as homeostasis. Okay, so what does it do? It keeps the body to maintain the so-called optimal conditions. So, what are the optimal conditions? Good amount of oxygen, low amount of carbon dioxide, proper sugar levels in the blood, uh, more ionic levels on the neurons, and optimal ionic levels in the other organs, good amount of water in every cell. Okay, and coming to the mineral and vitamin content, good amount of mineral and vitamin content, and whatever the waste is there, the waste has to be eliminated out. So we have different kinds of adaptations. We have different kinds of methods. Okay, and we have different tissues doing the job. Okay, so how is this homeostasis regulated at cellular level or at the tissue level? We usually will be having four components. The first component is your sensor. So what does it do? The sensor will be recording, or it will be detecting the specific environment that we are looking at. For example, let's say we have a sensor which is going to look at the sugar level, okay, or at temperature. So the sensor will record the sugar capacity or the sugar content concentration in a particular area, and that will be delivering the same data to the control center. So now, what is this control center? Usually, the control center, in cases of cells or in cases of tissues, may be located within them also. But if you are looking at higher creatures like us, like human beings and all, we have a control center which is regulated at the brain. Okay, so you may have two different control centers. One is overall control center, which is maintained by your nervous system, especially the brain, and one is local control center, which is located in the tissue. Okay, we can call them as tissue specific or cell specific control centers. So what do? They get the information, they get the sensing information, and they will be referring to the original values. Original value मतलब जो हमारा optimal value है वो वैल्यू से कंपेयर करेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से द फास्टिंग शुगर लेवल ऑफ ए ह्यूमन बीइंग शुड बी बिटवीन 70 and 90. Okay, sugar level. So if this level crosses, let's say 100, we are a bit higher with respect to our sugar content in the body. So that has to be regulated or repaired back. Okay, if it is not addressed properly, then the candidate will be suffering with a disease called as diabetes. Okay, same way we have salt level, we have ionic level, we have pH level, water level, gas level. Different levels has to be addressed, different things has to be sensed and controlled. So who's doing that? The control center will be receiving the data, and after it receives the data, it sees it matches with the reference value or the optimal value. If there is a fluctuation or if there is a deviation, then the control center will project a process towards a target, and the target should be doing a job. Okay, so what can be the target? The target can be the same cell. The target can be a cell which is located a bit distant away, or the target can be an entire organ or the organ system. Okay, so how does the communication happen? It happens through different media. For example, if you are looking at a cellular level, the communication can happen through your cytoplasm. It can happen through your endoplasmic reticulum. It can happen through your cytoskeleton, etc., etc. But if you're looking at a larger scale, like our human beings or like dogs or cats or bats, we have a well-established circulatory system. We have a well-established communication in the form of nervous system. So these systems will be taking care in communicating the sensory information to the control center, and whatever the control center is deciding to do, that has to be delivered to the target, and that all the job is also done by your communication systems. So we have four different components for a homeostasis. Number one is sensor, number two is control center, number three is communication system, number four is target. Target will be giving you the output. Okay, and the output will be contracting to the changes, and whatever the change has happened will be brought back to the normal. So we are able to maintain the so-called optimal state in such a manner. This is the same information. We have an imbalance. Once the imbalance is done, then the sensor receives it. It conveys the same information to the control center. The control center gives process to be done, and the process to be done will be delivered to the effector. The effector will do the job, and depending upon the extent of the change happened, the effector will be doing its job, and based on that, the so-called homeostasis will be brought back to the normal. So this entire process is called homeostasis. Now, how does the homeostasis work? We have feedback loops. Okay, like if there is a change, we should be activating something. If we have received our set conditions, if we have received our set values, then we have a negative feedback loop saying that okay, nothing has to be turned on. We can simply just keep your system idle. So this way, your homeostatic systems have two different kinds of loops. We have positive loops, we have negative loops. Okay. Example, let's take a example of an athlete. Okay, let's consider one of the members from our classroom only. Let's say Saptarshi is a runner. Okay, let's say Saptarshi is a good racer. Let's say he's participating in a running race. Okay, so when Saptarshi is stable, when he is simply standing or when he is simply preparing for running position, the body's metabolism is regular, it's common. Okay, the blood flow is common, the heartbeat is common, the so-called breathing capacity, everything is regular, normal. Let's say this fellow has started a race. Now he is running. Okay, so while he is running, you see that there is a lot of musculoskeletal activity, right? Now, to because of this lot of musculoskeletal activity, this fellow requires a lot of energy, and not just energy. This fellow requires a lot of other things. And how do he get that? He should be getting it through the blood, the circulatory system. So what happens? The circulatory system should starts to flow faster. Okay, so faster flow होने के लिए क्या चाहिए हमको? Heart की जरूरत है. So heart starts to beat faster. So the blood pumping is now happening at a faster rate. In accordance with this, the so-called the breathing capacity, the exchange of gases has to happen faster. So we start to breathe faster. Okay, so your breathing is elevated, your heartbeat is faster, your blood flow is faster, and so your muscles and the skeletal system are both of them are going to do the job properly. Okay, so we have seen that there is a change now. What is the change happening? We have seen that the blood flow is elevated, the heartbeat is faster, the so-called breathing is faster, and on top of that, now all of these are actually leading to an exothermic state, which means the body temperature is raising. Okay, so this is what happens now. Now we have seen a change. Okay, so we have to contract it. So how do we contract it? While this fellow is running, you see that the so-called the surface, we have a surface covered with this organ called a skin. The skin has receptors which are thermosensitive, so they detect the changes happening at the temperature level. We have seen that the temperature is now changed. So what does the skin do? The skin starts to release sweat. Now sweat, what does the sweat contain? It has water, and water is a good absorber of heat. Okay, so whatever the elevated temperatures are there, the sweat will be absorbing them. Okay, so while this job is done, the blood flow is already faster, right? So you tend to see that the sweat is also going to release a certain amount of salts so that the pH balance of the blood and everything is maintained. So this way you see that your sweat, whatever is coming out is salty. At the same time, it is also going to absorb your temperature. Okay, and so it tends to counteract the increasing temperature. Done. Now let's say this fellow is finished with this. Now our body will be giving a negative feedback saying that okay, this fellow is done with the race, Saptarshi is done with the race, it's fine. Now let's slow down. So it gives the entire signals to the targets. So what are the targets here? Your blood vessels, your heart, and your respiratory system. They got activated. So your respiration starts to slow down eventually, and with accordance to that, the heartbeat also starts to beat normally. Okay, elevated जो heartbeat था, वो cardio थोड़ा बहुत कम होना शुरू होगा, and in accordance with the heartbeat, the pumping capacity is also going to be normal. So this way the blood flow will become normal. So we are activating a NATO limb. So this NATO limb now has actually brought back the so-called process back to the normal. So this way a homeostatic regulation happens. Okay, this is just a kind of an example. There are several such kind of events happening in our body. We see a disorder. Usually, the so-called biological system itself is working on the so-called chemistry, right? And when you are actually looking at the chemistry, there is a lot of entropy happening. Okay, so while the energy transfer and all events are happening, you tend to see a sort of an imbalance, and this imbalance has to be balanced. So your homeostatic system keeps working. Okay, example, one more example. Let's say most of us do sleep at night, right? I'm saying most of us. If it was before, like some decades ago, I would have said that all of us will sleep at night. But now the socio-economic factors have changed, and that is forcing us to go for night shifts. And still, there are majority of the people who are now diurnal, which means we work at the daytime and we sleep at the night time. Okay, so let's say most of us sleep at the night time. So when we sleep at the night time, or let's forget about day and night. Let's just target about sleeping phenomenon. So when you are actually sleeping, how much of the energy do you conserve? Is it going to be? I'll just give you the options. Will it be 30%? Will it be 50%? I'm saying about conservation of energy. मतलब डे टाइम में आप 100% एनर्जी को यूज कर रहा है, फाइन. विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द डे टाइम एक्टिविटी, समझ लीजिए आप रेस्ट कर रहा है, स्लीप ले रहा है. सो लेट्स से यू आर स्लीपिंग फॉर 7 to 8 hours, which is a healthy sleep. So during this healthy sleep, how much amount of energy are you saving? Is it going to be 10%, 20%, 30%? Sorry, is it going to be 10%, 30%, 50%, or 70%? कितना एनर्जी आप सेव कर रहा है? रैंडम आंसर्स you can
So
give.
70, I guess.
70%.
30%.
Again I'm saying about
30%.
Sir, 10%.
again I'm saying about saving of energy. कितना एनर्जी की आप सेव कर रहे हैं?
10% saving.
10, 30, 50, 70 या 100?
Sir, 10.
So 30%.
So 30%.
So 70%.
70%, sir.
May you repeat the
Chat
question?
will try
That-
to save the maximum energy
No,
possible.
no. Actually, that's not the case. While we are sleeping, you see that we are actually consuming a good amount of energy with respect to the so-called your active period. You hardly will be saving energy because of absence of musculoskeletal activity. आप जब सो रहे होंगे, when you are actually sleeping, so there are three things which get shut down. One is your optical and auditory inputs. Okay, optical and auditory inputs, मतलब आपका vision and hearing, both of these things will be idle. Then coming to your musculoskeletal system, your muscles and your skeleton are also idle. Okay, other than this, you look at your rest of your body parts, they are working. Your brain is still working. It is actually coordinating all the activities of your body. Your so-called digestive system is working. Your endocrine system is working. Hormonal activity is still done. Okay, your heart, it never rests. So your circulatory system keeps working. The blood has to flow throughout the body every time. It should not
Lungs,
stop.
sir.
And the same way, look at your lungs. They keep working. You keep breathing. You don't stop breathing, right? So this way, when you are actually sleeping, 70% of your body is still active, or beyond that. Okay, and surprisingly, if you're going to look at the brain activity tends to be higher during the night because आप unconscious है, okay, and in unconscious state also you have to keep your body in a synchronous manner. So your brain consumes good amount of oxygen and good amount of energy, okay. More than like 30% of the oxygen is consumed by the brain during the night time, okay, and in the daytime it's hardly 20 to 25%. ओके, सो ओवरऑल बॉडी के जो जितने भी ऑक्सीजन कैपेसिटी है उसमें से ब्रेन का कंजम्पशन ज्यादा है, डे टाइम में भी ज्यादा है, नाइट टाइम में भी ज्यादा है, नाइट टाइम में और ज्यादा है कंपैरेटिवली टू द डे. और लेट्स से वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्टिव एंड स्लीपिंग स्टेट्स. सो स्लीपिंग स्टेट में आपका ब्रेन का ऑक्सीजन कंजम्पशन काफी ज्यादा है, okay, because synchronization process is more active during the night time. Unconscious state में the homeostasis mechanism has to be very active, and the regulation part will be completely taken by your circulatory system, where it is going to show the hormonal activity, and your brain, where it is going to show the neural activity. Okay, so two kinds of communication are very much active when you are actually sleeping, and that's the reason why you tend to save only 20 to 30% of energy while we are sleeping, okay, compared to a regular active phase. 70% of the energy or beyond that will still be under utilization, okay. Now let's go ahead. So these are the loops. Now coming to the organs systems that usually takes part in regular homeostasis. So with respect to the temperature regulation, we have three major things that has to be taken care of. One is your water. The water balance is done by your kidney. So what does the kidney do? Kidney का क्या function है? Can somebody mention?
Purify blood.
The filtering of blood.
Usually blood is made up of water. So water का जितना भी what do you say role, majority of the body is made up of water. So water regulation happens at the kidney level. So the filtration of the water happens at the kidney, as water is majorly available in the blood, and the blood is a connective tissue. So it is directed to the kidney. In the kidney, the filtration happens, and after the filtration, 99% of the water is absorbed back into the body, and 1% of the so-called water will be eliminated. And why it has to get eliminated? Because we have some waste, we have some excess of salts, we have some excess of minerals. They are toxic to our body, so we have to remove them, and hence we are removing them by giving them into some water, and this some water is coming out in the form of a urine. Okay, so kidney does the job of water regulation. Now coming to the skin and muscles, what do? They do thermoregulation. Okay, thermoregulation मतलब temperature based activity. एक तो already example हम देख चुके हैं. Skin is actually dealing with what? Sweating. Okay, when somebody gets fever, you see that you are actually releasing good amount of sweat. The thing is that the elevated temperature is not good for us. So we have to bring it back to normal. So the skin is contracting that increased heat, and that's doing the job by releasing the sweat. So we sweat when we actually have fever, and not just fever. Whenever you see any sort of a increase in the temperature, surface temperature, the skin will be giving you sweat. Okay. Simply I'll just give you one more example. आप summer के time में जब बाहर बहुत काफी गर्मी है, you just go and stand outside. Simply don't do anything, just stand outside. Okay, the heat wave will be hitting your skin like anything. Skin is the first region to encounter the so-called temperature, right? So you just stand in the sun for a long time. Won't you sweat, or we will stay dry? हम लोग sweat करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir. We will
We do
sweat.
We do sweat because we have this temperature sensing activity done continuously by the skin, and we see that the surface temperature is getting elevated because of the external heat wave, and so the skin will be giving you sweat. Same way, you just look at the colder climatic conditions. Okay, colder climatic conditions may usually when we go out, usually I'm saying about usually, so which means common people like us. So when we go out in the cold climatic conditions, what do? We should be wearing good amount of clothes, and these clothes should be warmer. They should be showing some sort of insulating activity. So we prefer wearing the woolen clothes, or we prefer wearing jackets. Okay, unlike you don't see in so something like your movies and all. Movie is fantasy based thing. Okay, you see Tiger Shroff or Disha Patani coming out. So in so-called Antarctica, maybe you see that Tiger Shroff is actually posing with six-pack. That's not the case, normal case with respect to the human body. A regular human body usually will be combating the so-called cold wave. by wearing lot of so-called cloths, warm cloths. समझ लीजिए, we have ended up with a phenomenon like tiger shroff, where we have to expose our body to the cold wave. At that point of time, what does our body do? At that point of time, what does our body do? आपको जब ठंड लगता है तो what is the common thing that you observe?
Contracts, body contracts.
We usually rub our hands. Okay, we do some sort of mechanical activity. Fine. Other than that, you see that your muscle, somebody said contract, you're actually closer to that. Fine. We actually shiver. Okay, we actually shiver. हम लोग shiver करते हैं. Shivering is a kind of an automatic adaptation from your muscle. So, kind of a vibratory activity coming from your muscular cells. So, they are going to consume the energy. They are going to consume good amount of sugar levels, and the energy will be utilized for dissipating heat. Okay, so the muscle is activating metabolism, and this metabolism will be directing the so-called muscular cells to vibrate. So we have some sort of a mechanical activity which is exothermic in nature, and this will be dissipating heat. So the heat which is released from the muscle will be now contracting to the cold wave which is coming from the exterior. Okay, so this can happen for a short period only. Remember again, this can happen for a short period only, not for the entire long period. You can't stay naked as such for a long period in a so-called cold climatic condition. Okay, if you are doing that, probably we get sick, and if eventually we may even die also. We can get frozen and we can die. The metabolic rate falls down if you're doing that. Okay, so because the muscle is utilizing the energy sources to dissipate the heat, and if you are left with no more energy sources, the metabolic rate goes down automatically. The so-called functioning of the body also drops. Okay, and hence that is the reason why we generally have to protect our body from using the so-called warm clothes and do some mechanical activity when we are hitting with a cold wave. Okay, so this kind of a regulation is done by your muscle, and on top of that, you have the regulation coming from your blood vessel also. This is minute, okay, but still a kind of a regulation comes from your so-called blood vessel also. Blood vessel, what does the blood vessel do? When your skin is actually uh, so-called secreting this sweat में क्या content है? Water content है. तो water content हमको सबसे ज़्यादा कहाँ से मिलता है? Blood में मिलता है. So you see that the blood circulation should be elevated during this time. Okay. So what happens? The blood vessel usually have a certain diameter. This diameter gets a little bit increased. थोड़ा बहुत increase होता है, जिसके वजह से क्या होगा? आपका blood flow थोड़ा ज़्यादा होगा. Okay, the flow of the blood is a bit faster. So we are vasodilating during a hot wave और temperature elevation के टाइम पे हमारा जो blood diameter है वो थोड़ा बहुत बड़ा होता है. क्यों बड़ा होना चाहिए? क्योंकि blood circulation ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. क्यों होना चाहिए? Because it has to be reaching to the tips of the skin, and the skin has to consume good amount of water so that it can release an amount of sweat to combat the increased temperature. Same way, when it is a cold wave, when the so-called temperature is low, in that point of time, the so-called energy sources has to be utilized in an appropriate manner. Metabolism has to happen in a very specific manner. So what happens? The blood flow should be restricted. It should be flowing a bit lower compared to the normal. So to do that, what does happen? The blood vessel diameter contracts. थोड़ा बहुत डिक्रीज होता है, जिसके वजह से क्या होगा? आपका ब्लड फ्लो जो है वो कम हो जाएगा. तो heat gain, more blood flow. Okay, I mean when your temperature surface is too high, the flow of the blood is also too high. When your surface temperature is too low, automatically the diameter is also low. Okay, so remember that way. So your blood vessels also contribute to thermoregulation, and on top of that, we have a center in case if the entire body temperature has to be regulated on a whole in a synchronous manner. In such case, we have a master regulator located in the brain. So we call this as hypothalamus. This is just downward to the pituitary. So you see this region in the brain, midbrain. This is your midbrain region. So in the midbrain region, we have this area called as hypothalamus. That will be involved in regulation of your temperature. Overall body temperature is regulated from this region. So homeostasis is done from the nervous system part by this fellow, hypothalamus. Okay. So this way we have regulation of water, we have regulation of temperature. Now coming to the regulation of something called as sugar. Sugar regulation is important because sugar is like one of the primary sources of energy for all the living creatures, right? So what kind of sugar are we getting? Glucose. So in our case, when we actually take the glucose should be distributed to the entire parts of the body. Each and every cell has to receive the glucose. How is it happening? Through the blood only. Circulatory system is doing that. Okay. So we usually measure the sugar levels in the blood only. So हमारे blood में अगर sugar level normal है, well and good, no change has to be done. अगर हमारे body में sugar level काफी ज़्यादा है, if you have high glucose level, what happens then? Then
Diabetes.
ना, I am telling about auto-regulatory, मतलब contraction के बारे में बोल रहा हूँ. डायबिटीज तब होगा जब आपका शुगर लेवल बिल्कुल खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है. ओके, मैं बस बता रहा हूँ कि अगर अचानक से आपके बॉडी में शुगर लेवल अचानक से ज्यादा हो गया है तब क्या होगा. ओके,
So diabetes should be due to deficiency of insulin also, no?
तब what has to happen means at that point of time it has to be brought back to the normal. So how are we doing it normal? We are having a mechanism. Let me just explain the mechanism. Okay, so first is we have a normal blood sugar. Let's say because of some kind of a food that we have taken or because of some other mechanism, let's say our sugar levels have gone up in the blood. So this is detected by a sensor which will be looking at the sugar content in the blood. So it reports the same to the something called as your pancreas. So now the pancreas will be targeting the liver. So how do they target? They will be releasing a hormone called as insulin. Okay, so they will be releasing a hormone called insulin. So the insulin, what does it do? Insulin goes, it attacks the so-called liver, and at the liver, whatever the excess glucose is coming, because liver is the area of metabolism. Okay, in the entire body, the major metabolism happens at the liver. So at the liver, whatever the excess glucose levels are there, they will be now converted into the stored formats. Okay, so glucose is a single unit of sugar, right? It's a monosaccharide. So from glucose, we have to bring a polysaccharide, which is made up of 1,000 units of glucose. We call it as glycogen. Remember the name glycogen. Glucose to glycogen. Glucose is monosaccharide. Glycogen is polysaccharide. So we have to build a polymer of glucose called glycogen. So to do that, we have to release this hormone called insulin. So where does the insulin go and act? It is going to act on the liver. Good. Now, while the conversion happens, you see that the blood sugar level, whatever is higher in the blood, is now dropping down and it's getting back to the normal. Fine. So this is one kind of a regulation. Now let's look at the second regulation. If you have a low sugar level, अगर आपके body में blood sugar level low है, our functioning can get affected. Okay. So what do we do? Now we have to get more sugar. So where do we get it from? Again, the pancreas will be releasing a hormone called glucagon. Okay, high sugar में insulin को release कर रहा था, low sugar में glucagon. Both the activities are done from the pancreas. So pancreas is releasing a hormone called glucagon. Now the glucagon it will target the liver. So what is it targeting at the liver? It is targeting the glycogen. So glycogen का जो भी glycogen stored molecules है, ये molecules को that is going to break down. So the breakdown of glycogen will lead to formation of glucose again, and again we are getting the normal sugar levels in the blood. So this way, whenever we have a fluctuation in the sugar levels in the body, अगर ज़्यादा sugar है तो insulin activate हो जाएगा, अगर कम sugar है तो glucagon activate हो जाएगा, अगर normal sugar levels है तो कुछ भी activate नहीं होगा. We have a regular regulation. So we have a homeostatic mechanism for sugar being maintained in the body. If this mechanism is disturbed and if you become chronically hypoglycemic or hyperglycemic, then that leads to a state called as diabetes. तब होगा diabetes. Okay. Usually in a day's time, a normal man will undergo this. कभी कभी हमारे बॉडी में ब्लड शुगर हो सकता है, कभी कभी कम शुगर भी हो सकता है. Okay, depending upon the food intake that we are taking, or depending people, let's say we are going for people who are fasting for, let's say, some time. Okay, so when you are actually taking fasting blood and all, you usually should be getting a low sugar level. Okay, so you should not consider that as a normal case, right? So you should look at a normal case and you should see that the person is eating the food properly and the diet should be having appropriate amount of sugars and all. If that is the scenario, and if the sugar levels are well managed in the time, then the person is healthy. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So I have a query. Whenever we go for a blood test for any particular thing, any particular disease, then they usually say do not eat anything from the morning before the blood test, kind of. So why is it so? Is it related to blood sugar level in our body?
Yeah. They
Because
want to see. We have a specific value when we fast, and we have a specific value after we fast. So we should be getting the value in that range. That is the reason why they ask you to go for the fasting. And not
Okay,
just that, when you actually eat something, no, you have started you have given your so-called nutritional content to the intestine, and if the intestinal absorption starts and if it is goes into the blood, probably we are going to alter the values. Okay, metabolic values. So to avoid that, people do collect majority of the data during the fasting period. Okay, 8 hours of fasting is sufficient enough, but there are people who still ask you to go for 10 to 12 hours of fasting also. Okay, but 8 hours of fasting is good enough. आप खाना खा लीजिए 8 घंटे के बाद अगर आप चेक करेंगे, that will be indicating your regular values of your regular metabolic rate of your body, and that values are majorly considered, and that's the reason why people ask you to go for the fasting while you give blood test. Okay. So fasting में अगर आपका values अगर altered है, if your fasting values are altered, वहाँ पे अगर ज़्यादा दिखा रहा है या काफ़ी कम दिखा रहा है, in such cases people will say that okay, you are diagnosed with this, you are diagnosed with this, and so on. Okay, so it basically says that your homeostatic mechanism of that particular factor is not doing its job properly. So they give you drugs to do that. Okay, so that's all about homeostasis. Now coming to the pathways of homeostasis. कितना time हुआ है? 12:30 now. We hardly have 7 minutes. Let's see if I can complete this one. We have two pathways of अभी तक जो भी हम देख रहे थे वो regulatory part है. Now let's look at the pathway. Okay, pathways of homeostasis types. We have two different types of homeostasis. One is extrinsic homeostatic system, and the other one is intrinsic homeostatic system. Intrinsic matlab we have a tissue or we have a cell. The cell itself has a sensor. The cell itself has a control unit, and the cell itself has a so-called target. It itself is a target. Okay. Example: consider our so-called blood lungs. Consider our lungs. Okay. So when you are actually considering the lungs, lung का job क्या है? To take the oxygen in and to eliminate the carbon dioxide out. Okay. So exchange of gases should be happening here, right? So the lung itself has the centers to do the job. It doesn't have to get any sort of a so-called controlling coming from the heart, or controlling coming from your kidneys, or controlling coming from your brain. Okay, it does the job on its own. It's auto-regulatory in nature. So such kind of activity is called as intrinsic homeostatic system. Okay, intrinsic homeostatic means it is doing the job on its own. It has its own sensor. It has its own something called as your control system, and it has its own. It itself is the target also. So such kind of a system is called as intrinsic homeostatic system. So majority of our organs usually are intrinsic in nature, but in certain cases, you need to get signals from the exterior also. Okay, you need to get signals from the exterior also. Like as I said earlier, your brain will be synchronizing the functioning of your organs during the night time, or even during the daytime. So the synchronous activity will be keeping your metabolism and your so-called body functioning appropriately if everything is doing the job in a synchronized manner. So you have a controlling coming from your brain or your endocrine glands. Endocrine glands, matlab, they will be releasing the hormones. So they release the hormones into the blood, and they will be affecting the tissue, and the tissue will be now after it is triggered by this hormone. The tissue starts to function in a different manner. Okay, and this way also the homeostasis is achieved. So such kind of a regulation is called as extrinsic homeostatic regulation. Intrinsic matlab everything is happening on its own. That's intrinsic. Extrinsic matlab you are receiving some controlling inputs from the controlling centers, which are located at different locations. It can be your nervous system or it can be your endocrine system. So such kind of a homeostatic mechanism is called as extrinsic homeostatic mechanism. So these are the two different types. And coming to the process, your homeostasis can happen in a single step, or your homeostasis may happen in different steps, and each and every step can be a homeostatic mechanism. Okay, example: consider clotting. So whenever you have a cut, let's say somebody is cutting vegetables. Okay, let's say इसको लेंगे हम Yeah. Let's say Aditi is cutting some vegetables. Okay. Let's say because of some deviation, let's say she has cut her finger. Okay. So now the finger has a cut, and while the cut has happened, it has also cut the blood vessel. जब blood vessel cut होता है, तभी आपको you see that the blood is flowing out, right? So the cut has to be sealed. Otherwise, what happens? The blood keeps coming out, and probably you can get affected badly. So we already have a mechanism to seal this wound, right? So while we seal this wound, you see, look at the pattern of the blood vessel. The blood vessels behave in a different pattern. The first step is that the blood vessel dilate. मतलब उसका जो diameter है वो बड़ा हो जाएगा, जिसके वजह से blood flow ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Blood flow अभी ज़्यादा होने की क्या जरूरी है? Because you require the factors that do the clotting. And where are they coming from? They are coming from the platelets. So we need recruitment of platelets to the site of the injury. So the blood flow should be faster. So ज़्यादा fast हो जाएगा. That's the reason why you see immediately after the cut, you see that the temperature of the surface is increased. At the same time, you see that the so-called flow of the blood is faster. Okay, ज़्यादा blood थोड़ा बाहर निकलेगा immediately after the cut. So this is immediately after the cut. The flow is faster, and we are actually recruiting the platelets to the site of injury. This is homeostasis number 1. So this is vasodilation. Now let's look at the second step. Now the platelets are adequate. They are all aggregating and they are forming a plug called as platelet plug. So while the platelet plug is established between these two borders, you see that now the blood flow is restricted. The flow is slower. So to do that, you see the vessel is now constricted. So the diameter is lesser. So blood flow is also restricted. So now here we release these factors. The platelets are releasing the factors. One of the factors is already available in the stage 1, that is prothrombin to thrombin. And this thrombin now should be acting on another released factor from platelet called as fibrinogen. So this is in soluble format. Okay. So this is happening at step number 2, secondary homeostasis. Now let's say we have released the fibrinogen. एक बार fibrinogen release होने के बाद, the thrombin which is already available will be now acting, combining with the fibrinogen, and this is converting it into fibrin. Now the fibrin is insoluble in nature. Okay. So what happens? Now whatever the platelets are there, wherever the fibrinogen is got converted to fibrin, the entire area will become solidified. Okay. Once it becomes solidified, now you see the blood flow. It is again back to the normal. Okay, so we have a regular blood flow happening at this location, and we have developed something called as your blood clot. So we have a primary homeostasis where you see vasodilation. We have a secondary homeostasis where you see formation of platelet plug and vasoconstriction. We have a tertiary homeostasis where you see the development of the blood clot and regularization of the diameter of the blood vessel. So the vasal activity is common again. So this is how the homeostatic regulation can happen. It can happen in multiple steps, or it can happen in a single step. If it is happening in a multiple steps, we have primary homeostasis, secondary homeostasis, and tertiary homeostasis. So we stop here. It's 12:20 already. This example I will be giving you in the next class. Next class में मैं आपको ये explain करूँगा. Okay. As of now, we stop. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
you,
sir.
sir.